Oh, hello guys. Welcome back. This will be the second last video, but it's the last subsection. Yeah, it's the last. Let me say it's the last section, on the chapter 2. Right. So we're dealing with word problem. Word problem is, they will give you a sentence describing a particular situation, of which you will take that whole sentence and, you know, uh, try to, at some point you're going to assign variables. You're going to assign variables to what? To things that are not known, right? For example, they will tell you that, what can I say? I want to buy a couple of chocolates, right? But I only have like 100 rand with me, you know. And on top of the chocolates that I want to buy, I also want to buy Simba snacks. Then they ask you a question that, as for like, how many Simba snacks and how many chocolates will I be able to have? Given that Simba snacks go for like, say, 20 rands, and chocolate goes for like, say, 15 rands. So that's just an example. We have 15 rands for chocolates, 20 rands for 20 rands for what? 20 rands for Simba snacks, right? And then, so in that example, you will say, for an example, um let x be the number of chocolates I'm gonna get, and you will say let y be the number of Simba snacks I'm gonna get, right? So you already know that 15 times x plus 20 times y, it has to be equals to 100. Or say, since we cannot, you might end up having like x being a fraction of something. Say for example, you solving that problem and you say 15x plus y plus 20y is smaller than what? Smaller than 100, So, but of course, you're going to have another statement to make the problem much more easier. So yeah, we're going to do just that. Right here, we have a problem like that. It's a word problem. We're going to break it down step by step, and I'm going to go slow on this. Yeah, I noticed I had a hard time as well explaining what a word problem is, but I know you all have made it in grade 10. So I was just explaining something that you all know. So let's get into it. Cool. They say Rika has decided to treat her friends to a coffee at this place called Corner Coffee House, right? So Erika wants to buy her friends coffees, and Erika paid for. Okay. Oh, Erika paid 54 rand. So how much did? Okay, I'm gonna say Erika is a girl. It sounds, yeah, Erika sounds like a girl's name. So Erika used 50 rands to buy 4 cups of cappuccino and 3 cups of filtered coffee. Right. So the whole 50 rand, it covered what? 4 cups of coffee and 3 cups of filter coffee. Yeah, I know I messed it up. I had to say 4 cups of cappuccino. Cool stuff. If a cup of cappuccino cost 3 rands, more than a cup of filter coffee, calculate how much each type of coffee costs. Right, so we have 2 types of coffees. That's what? That's cappuccino and filter coffee. So I'm gonna take this. So I'll say this now. I'll say, use this. I'll say let x be. Let me just say what. Okay. Cost. Yeah. Cappuccino cup, right? And then I'll say the same thing for y. You know, yeah, bad handwriting, I'll say. But yeah, so I know like 1 cup of cappuccino, it costs how much? It cost me X, and 1 cup of filter coffee cost me Y, right? So now, what did their statement say? It said that this guy paid 4. It's 4 cappuccinos, so it's gonna be 4X plus 3Y, 3Y, and all of that must give me 54, right? And 54 because you know she spends 54 rands buying 4 cups of cappuccino and 3 cups of filter coffee. Now let's have a fit. Now, yeah. Now they say that a cup of cappuccino, this statement right here, a cup of cappuccino, it costs more than a filtered coffee. So they're telling me that X is equals to what? Is equals to Y plus 3, because it costs 3 rands more than a filtered coffee. So now look at what do I have here. Right here, this is equation number 1, and this right here, this is equation number 2. What does that say? I have a simultaneous equation, and fortunately this is a greater and simultaneous equation, so it will not be a problem. I can just substitute equation 2 into equation 1, right? So now I have what? I have 4, x is y plus 3, 3y equals to 54. 54. Yeah, school kids are just coming out now. Might be a little bit noisy. Cool stuff, cool stuff. So I have 4y plus 12 plus 3y, that is 54. And then of course I'm gonna have 7y, and 54 minus 12, I believe that is going to be 42, which divide divide by 7. I believe that has to be 6, and I'm just gonna check to make sure. Bam. 6. So now what is it that I know? I know that x is what? Y plus 3, meaning that I have 6 plus 3, almost messed it up, being 9, right? Cool stuff. So like, just we are done solving this problem. We now know how much each type of coffee costs. It's 4 nines, or let me just say 90 plus 9 plus 9 plus 9, and then plus 3 6. Yep, so I can just go to the calculator. I mean, I don't have to do this, but yeah, let's do it. 9 plus 9 plus 9 plus 9. Those are 4 nines. Then we go for 3 6 plus 6 plus 6 plus 6. Voila, 54. You see, so we took what they said and put it into some algebraic equations, and from there it was easier to solve it. And I will always tell you that, like, these word problems, as soon as you put them into some, if you put it in a more mathy way, it's gonna be way easier to solve it than before actually breaking it down. Let's see what the next problem have. Cool. So the next problem, it says Mr. Kobokwani. I'll say that again. Mr. Kobokwani builds a fence, around his rectangular vegetable garden of 8 meters squared. I will say, highlight this thing when you're talking about the rectangular vegetable garden, and when you're talking about this, so we already know what that's the area of that rectangular vegetable garden, right? And then if the length is twice the breadth, determines the dimensions of Mr. Kobokwani's vegetable gardens. So this one, yeah, it's a no-brainer. First thing first, you think area of a rectangle, area of a rectangle is what? Length time. Let me write it in a much fancier way. Length times breadth. So it's length times breadth, which in this case that is 8 meters squared, right? Meters, need to raise that, meter squared. So now let's go. What is it that they are telling us? The length is twice the breadth. So here I can just say let b for breadth be what? Bx. Therefore length is gonna be 2b, which is 2x, right? Cool. So I have an area of a rectangle, which is length times breadth, and all of that. Bang. That is gonna be 2x times x, which is what? 2x squared, right? And I know that my area of a rectangle is equal to what? Is equal to 8 meters squared. So I say 2x squared, which has to be equal to 8 meters squared. So I can get rid of this meter. For now, divide by 2. I end up having x squared is equals to 4. Now I put a square root both sides. Here it's plus or minus. So that means what? That means x is equals to plus or minus 2. One person was maybe gonna say x squared minus 4 equals to 0, and then that's x minus 2, x plus 2 equals to 0, and they will end up with x being what? Minus 2, or x being 2, right? But now we're talking about a length, and of course this is not physics, so yeah, we're not gonna use negative values. Of course in physics that negative sign was gonna tell us the direction, so we're just gonna take the 2, so b, which is x, is gonna be what? It's gonna be 2, and length, which is 2x, is gonna be 2 into 2, which is gonna be 4. So you take that 4, you find the area, which is length multiplied by breadth. That's gonna be 4 times 2, which is what? Bang! It gives you 8 meters squared, of course. So the dimension is gonna be 2 meters and 4 meters. Then you're done with this problem, right? Cool stuff. Let's I believe this is the last problem we have on the word problems. Cool. Let's get into it. Dang. Mohau play a few games of 10 pin bowling. I don't know what that game is. Sorry. Mohau played those games. In the third game, Mohau scored 80 more than in his second game. In his first game, Mohau scored 110 less than his third game. His total score for the first 2 games was 208, and then if he was an average score of 146, what must he score on the fourth game, right? So apparently, in this scenario, you already see he is gonna play 4 games. He has already played 3 games, and he wants to find out how many points he must score on his 4th game so that he can have an average of 146. So how are we gonna break it down? I'm thinking I'll say this is the first game A, second game B, third game, which is C, and then fourth game, which is D, right? Maybe I can say equals to. Right here I'm gonna write the scores. So A, you can just, I didn't want to write it, but I mean you can write it. You can say let A be C and B equals to 1, 2, 3, and 4 respectively. Yeah, right. Yeah. You write this down. Because sometimes it's not gonna be clear what do you mean by A, what do you mean by B, C, D. Even though it's a bit like kind of obvious, but better safe than sorry. So let's hear the first statement. It talks about his third game. They say in the third game, House scored 80 more than his second game. So third game, that is C, he scored what? 80 more than his what? His second game. So it's gonna be 80 plus B, right? And then in his first game, I'll use a different color. In his first game, he scored 110 less than the third game. So it's gonna be C minus 110, which is 110 scores less than his third game. Now the next thing they say is that the score of the first two, meaning the score of A, use a different pen. A plus B equals to what? Equals to 208. Right? So we can do a little bit of something here. Yeah? So since they didn't say anything about the second score, we'll just put it as B. Since they didn't say anything, we have to find D. D is what we have to find, right? Cool stuff. So now I'm gonna take what? I'm gonna take A plus B, which is equals to 208. And then since I know that my A is equals to this guy, I'm gonna substitute just that. I will say C minus 110. Look, this is A, right, which is just C minus 110. And then plus B equals to 200 and what? 208. And then I can just do one last thing, which is substituting C, because now C is what? C is 80 plus B. So where I see C, I can say 80 plus B, then plus B equals to 2. No, I left something. It's 80 plus B minus 110 plus B equals to 208. So some of you might ask me a question like, how did I know maybe to substitute? Like I substituted A here and I ended up with a C in my equation and a B. Now I substituted C right here. One of the simplest reasons is that you can see that C has B in it. So and then you also have B, as your second term, or as a third term, you also have B. So it kind of made sense because in that sense you will have only one variable B, to solve for. Cool. Let's do the maths. So I have 2B, and then I can just say 80 minus 110, which is minus 30, giving me 208. The next step, transpose 208 plus 30, 2B, 238, divide by 2, and then I have B, calculator 238. Dula fatshe ke tla o galla ne 2. That gives me 119. Ke tlo tlela e kgolo ntse ka Cool. I think I might be running out of space, so I'm gonna. Okay. So I'm gonna go a bit up. Yeah, so I already know that B is what? B is 119. Ne? Maybe let me use that to help me. C is gonna be what? 80 plus B, which is what? Let me just write B and then say 80 plus 119, and then uh, 80 plus 119, 199. All right, now I have C. With what I have, I can say A is equals to C minus 110, then 199 minus 110. That's gonna give me 89, I believe. 119, joking, 199 minus 110, 89. So I have A, B, C, D. No, I don't have D. I'm joking. So now the last thing I will do is to say A plus B plus C plus D. All these are my scores. If I find the average of them, I have to get 146, I believe. Yes, 146. 146. Now what do I do? Do the math. Of course, the 1 multiply ABCD and the 4 multiplies the 148. So I can just substitute in the next step. A is 89, B is 119, C is 199, D is D, equals to 4 times 146. That's 584. And yeah, so now I'm gonna say D equals to 584 minus 89 minus 119 minus 199, and D is gonna be what? That minus 89 minus 119 minus 199, 177 is my answer. So in his fourth game, he must score what? 177, and then bam, that's the end of this chapter. We are done. I'm just gonna do a summary. I'm gonna look for a question that sort of summarizes what we have done in chapter 2, and we'll solve that and then jump into the next chapter. See you there.